Welcome to the longest turn board gaming podcast. This is episode 19, top 5 board game arena games. My name is Tyler.
Hello, this is Kevin.
This is Tyson.
In this episode, we're going to talk about the games that we've been playing lately and then go over our top 5 favorite games to play on Board Game Arena.
Yeah.
It's been a while. We haven't recorded for over a month. In fact, the last time we recorded 2 episodes. We did Spiel des Jahres
And House Rules.
and House Rules. And that was over a month ago. We've hardly played games together. There's been a couple of games sprinkled in here or there, but
Well, my family had the plague. Most of us got COVID. I luckily came through unscathed, but my 4-year-old, my 9-year-old, my wife all got it. So
hopefully everybody's feeling better now.
yeah, the kids are doing good. My wife's still struggling a little bit, but she's doing good. But yeah, that's you guys didn't really want me around.
No,
I
we
think.
didn't.
Right.
No. And we tried to record over the internets, and we had some technical difficulties.
That was an adventure.
It was a miserable failure.
Yeah.
But
It was more of a test. We didn't.
lessons learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out in the future. You also went on vacation, Kevin.
I did. I played a lot of games, which was good. We'll talk about a few of those.
Our kids started school like a week or two ago because
Yep.
they start super early here in Colorado.
They do.
So it's been a crazy time.
It's been an adventure. We haven't had a lot of time together, like you said, Tyler, but I've been actually doing a lot more playing of board games on my own and doing a lot more solo plays and things like that because I had no friends to play with.
Oh,
Oh,
well, yeah.
That's a sad story.
I mean, I had 1 week at work. I worked like 80 hours in 7.5 days or something like that, like insane. It was crazy. So
I've been playing a lot of games on Board Game Arena. So this is a timely episode.
that's primarily what I've been playing for the last few weeks.
Right.
So going back to Spiel des Jahres, how did we do with our predictions?
I mean, some better than others, right?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Hey, I got one right.
I did too.
I think I got them both right?
Yeah, you
I
got
think you did,
100%.
yeah.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Which
That
is
was good.
surprising because we talked about how difficult it's been for any of us to pick any of the right winners this one. So, I mean, I guess we should probably say what those were. Kenner Spiel des Jahres winner was
Living Forest.
Living Forest, which
Yep.
was the one that Kevin and I both predicted correctly.
And Tyler, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that's right.
Yeah, because
But
he picked both of them, right? We just went over this.
That's how that works.
And even though my heart didn't win with doing Imperium, what I
Yeah.
picked did win. So
Yeah, I think Living Forest may have been a better fit for the Kenner Spiel. I don't know. Obviously, it was because it won. I mean, I've been enjoying that one.
It's still been playing it since we recorded that episode on BGA a lot, and I think it was well worth the win of Kenner Spiel des Jahres.
Yeah, it's a fun game. I like it a lot.
Secretly, I was pulling for Scout to win Spiel des Jahres, but nope.
Oh, yeah, we know you love that one.
Yeah.
You know I love ladder games. So
Oh, ladder games are the best. Monster Crunch.
there is a ladder game in the top 500. Tichu. Tichus.
Oh, that's a
And that's well known. Yeah, I
That's
haven't
a very-
played it. I've seen it played.
popular
197. So it's barely breaking 200.
one. Anything in the top 200 is like a really good
Super
game.
good.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What are you talking about? There's thousands and tens of thousands of games in the BGG database. If you make top 200, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, but yeah.
This hate for ladder games, I just don't know where it comes from.
Oh, there's no hate there. It just
If anybody is listening to this episode and wants proof that Tyler hates ladder games, go listen to any of the previous episodes and you'll see evidence
I was
of that.
thinking, so we got a shout out on the discussion phase for a couple things about our Carnegie episode, but also Monster Crunch came up and Killer Bunnies.
Yep.
Because we've had some fun discussions there. I was thinking about maybe mailing my copy of Monster Crunch to John of the
my
discussion
gosh.
phase.
He's been trying to track it down.
Yeah, I know. So when I saw that, I was like, is it weird if I ask him for his address? Like,
Oh, I mean, he'd be getting a
Or
great game.
do
He
I
would-
just use my skills and
John, if
figure
you're
out where he
listening,
lives?
you need to make sure
without
that you reach out
asking
and
him?
make Tyler get you that game because it's worth your time.
It is.
Are you on crack?
I enjoyed it.
It's a
Like
good
Kevin
game.
likes it. I know that
I don't
because
love
he
it. I
owns
don't think it's the greatest game ever, but every time we've played it,
is
been
what it is,
enjoyable,
right?
yeah.
It's,
Every time I pour
again-
a bowl of cereal, I'm like, man, I'm so glad I'm not playing Monster Crunch right now.
You said that you sent us a text the other day because coincidentally, all of the 80s Monster Crunch style cereals
Are on
coming
sale.
back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they were at Sam's.
well, they've been around forever. I mean, it's not like they went away, right?
That's what Kevin's getting
They
for his
did
birthday.
go away.
They did go away for a while?
There was a period of time that they went away, and they've renewed them. So
Okay.
I'm going to get some cereal for Kevin's birthday. And
I would love it.
And one of those little like birthday thing coupons that your kids give you, like, well, I'll play one Monster Crunch game with you.
You will not. There's no way. You played a pity game with me once. It was, what, a few months ago?
it was when I played it for the first time. Yeah,
Yeah, that's when you played it for the first time. I still don't understand. The game has asymmetrical player powers, which is one of your favorite things in games. I mean,
Yeah,
Boo Berry does something different than a Frankenberry. Right?
completely different. Yeah. It's amazing.
It's no comparison to Scout, which was the winner of the Spiel des Jahres. Oh wait, nope.
Yeah,
Goodness.
Cascadia
We
won,
already mentioned that.
Which I picked.
which I picked top 10.
Yep.
I was going out on a limb there. I think Cascadia is fantastic.
I think it's the
I
best
really
option,
I really
absolutely.
like that game.
That's one I'd like to see on Board Game Arena so I could play it more.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
and it's quick. Like you don't own it, Tyson, right? I think I'm the only one.
You're
in
the only one.
group that owns it, and I'm glad I do. It's a good time every time it comes out. So I think it's well deserved of the win for sure.
Yeah, I think both of them were good choices for this year's pick of Spiel winners.
Cool. Yeah. I agree. Well, we had to delay our recording for about an hour as my screaming toddler was...
I think he screamed himself to sleep. Right?
He did. So we better get started.
Let's do it.
Let's go ahead and talk about the games that we've been playing lately. Thank you for joining us. This is The Longest Turn, episode 19. Hoorah!
Hurrah!
Yay.
Tyson's excited.
You are
In fact, I am excited. So excited, I'd like to go first with what I've been playing.
I'll allow it.
I will also allow it.
Oh, Kevin will allow it too.
I was nervous. I was going to run through whether or not
I
Kevin
mean,
said so.
Go ahead.
What have you been playing lately,
Go ahead.
Tyson?
So we just mentioned the discussion phase, right? On the discussion phase, they've been talking about a game they've been playing lately called Stars of Akarios. And this was a game that I picked up and found through the Hungry Gamer and mentioned it to the discussion phase guys. And then together we were kind of geeking out about what it was. But essentially, and I hate to do this, but it's the easiest way to understand what this game is. Basically, Stars of Akarios is Gloomhaven in space meets Seventh Continent,
Whoa.
right?
Meets X-Wing.
Meets X-Wing, exactly. So it's like dogfighting in space with the scenario
lot of
book
meat.
of Gloomhaven,
It's a meaty game.
the modifier deck of Gloomhaven. If you play it, it's hard not to see those calls to it. I've played at this point 7 games of this, 7 scenarios. I've exited the prologue. It has, I think, over 150 scenarios in the game. So there's a lot in this game.
all solo plays, right?
I've played 1 non-solo play. So I did say at the top of this episode that, yeah, I've been playing a lot more solo games, and this is one of the ones that I've been playing a lot of. But essentially, Stars of Akarios is a game where you start out as cadets in flight school, learning how to be pilots, and as you're going through your first test flight in space, everything hits the fan. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a lot of stuff that happens in the scenario, the narrative that essentially makes the world kind of go upside down and everybody is kind of crazy and hectic and you have to solve it and you're running. It's got a lot of really tropey sci-fi stuff in it. But if you like sci-fi, if you like space combat, this is really interesting. I like this game because it does blend those kind of games that I mentioned already, Gloomhaven, Seventh Continent, and X-Wing all together. The combat is using a dice system instead of like exclusively a card system in Gloomhaven, where every round you're going to roll a set of dice and each die has a different face that can either be attributed to maneuverability, it can be attributed to combat, or it can give you stress. And the stress can be used as like a wild of either maneuver or combat, but as your stress levels go up, you're going to have more and more misses, and you're going to be less effective in what you're doing. So you're trying to manage your little modifier deck like Gloomhaven and make sure that you're rolling dice and attribute them in the right way so that you can accomplish these scenarios. So far from what I've played, there's a lot of different variability in the scenarios, in what you're trying to do. You're doing like escort missions, you're doing space combat, you're trying to achieve something at goal point A on the board, and you're trying to hold that position for a certain amount of time and things like that. And there's a lot of fun. And then you go in and have the opportunity to do space and world exploration in this game. So that's your seventh continent vibe. So if you're trying to explore the galaxy, there's a bunch of cards that you're going to lay down, and they're going to line up side by side. And if you go to the edge of one, it's going to tell you, hey, flip over card 2.1. And you're going to flip that card over, and it's going to have other options on there. And you have this resource management vibe in both space and world exploration as to what you're trying to do before you run out of resources and can't do anything anymore. So you're trying to explore this narrative. What I really like about it compared to Gloomhaven is that unlike Gloomhaven, you have scenarios where if you don't beat them, you have to repeat that scenario until you've accomplished it. The narrative in this game continues to progress forward, regardless of whether or not you have completed successfully the mission. So there are success fail options, and you're going to move forward.
That's nice, because it's kind of frustrating in Gloomhaven when you play for an hour and a half, and then you fail, and then you have to replay it, and that's kind of demoralizing.
I've had that experience in Gloomhaven where I've failed a mission 3 or 4 times, and I'm just like, all right, we're just going to fib this one because I'm tired of playing the same scenario over and over. Now, I will say that the writing in Gloomhaven seems a little bit more fleshed out, and part of that, I wonder, is because it doesn't have that branching narrative, because there are some things that I've started to notice post-prologue that feel like they don't quite sync up. So like if I make a decision and I choose to support a certain faction versus another faction, there are some weird kind of interactions where they're still friendly with me, even though I feel like I totally just stabbed them in the back and did something terrible. But they're like, hey, that's not a problem. Come on in. Like there's some weird kind of inconsistencies there.
Was this a Kickstarter that I missed? When did this come out?
It was a Kickstarter. I missed the Kickstarter myself, and I'm not exactly sure when it came out. But it started fulfilling within the last couple of months.
And they're just selling it in their store, right?
And they're selling it on their store, exactly. And so it hit the BGG hotness when it started fulfilling. And so I think a lot of people started purchasing it, and I'm not sure how available it is anymore. But I believe they're going to be doing a second printing on it. It has, I think, a lot of potential to be really fun. Kevin, you asked if I have done it exclusively solo. I've played it 3 players and solo. And when I played it 3 players, I liked the solo experience better, I think, than the 3-player. But that could have just been I was more invested in the game itself. If you got the right group, this could be really great for that entire group.
So you mentioned Gloomhaven. Which one do you think you like better at this point? Or have you played enough to even make that determination?
So, yeah, it's hard to say. I think Gloomhaven is probably the better game and would work better for most people. I think despite the warts on Stars of Akarios, I like it. And after 7 plays of it, I've played all of Gloomhaven. So I don't know that I can make a fair comparison at this point, but I like sci-fi, space battle, dogfight stuff better than generic fantasy most of the time, not all the time.
I'm the same way. That's a comment I was going to make. Is I think I like space themes better for the most part, or sci-fi a little bit better than fantasy. I like both.
Yes.
But I think I gravitate more, and if you look at my shelves, I probably have more space-themed games than I do fantasy games.
Now, the reason I think I like it better in this implementation is specifically it feels like dogfighting. Like I think Gloomhaven does a great job of making differences in the roles and the types of players you're playing, but I really like that there are advantages and disadvantages to where you're positioning yourself. So if you can get yourself behind an enemy, there is a specific advantage to doing so. And I like that feel of like tactical decision making of, I'm going to make this decision to get in an advantageous position to be able to do something really cool.
Yeah, so same style of games, but different focus on what the games do best type of thing.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I could see this one falling short in the long run, though, like because of the weird things going on in the narrative and things like that. I could see I'd have to play more to be able to make it, but right now I'm enjoying it more than I think I enjoyed Gloomhaven, but I don't know if that's going to last.
Does it have the potential to have the alpha gamer kind of take over when you're playing?
Your favorite thing in co-op
when you're playing
games?
with other people?
Yeah. There's a lot going on. I suppose you could, but because you're rolling your own dice, you have your own modifier deck, you have your own ship upgrades, you have your own pilot upgrades, you have your own abilities. There's a lot to manage, and it does a really good job because the player boards are recessed, and I think it does a better job at managing your character and your own player stuff than, say, Gloomhaven does. Just the production value, I think, is a little bit better. But because of that, I don't know that you'd be as prone to like quarterbacking and alpha gamering as you might in other games. I think there's enough decisions to make on your own that's not going to be an issue.
Nice.
Cool.
So that's
Sounds
Stars
fun.
of Akarios.
Very nice. So a game that I've been playing, it was the hotness at Origins.
Yeah.
And I also saw pictures. We didn't go to Gen Con, but I saw pictures of this game getting sold at Gen Con as well.
Which that was brutal to not go to Gen Con, right?
I agree. I mean, I think if I had the choice, I probably would have chosen Gen Con as the first one to go to, but schedules didn't really pan out that way. I'm glad we went to Origins, but I want to get to Gen Con.
Yeah. I want to go to both next year. So.
I kind of do as well. If I'm going to choose, though, it's just if I can only do one, next year is going to be Gen Con, I think for sure. But this game, it is Cat in the Box. So I picked this one up at Origins. I think Tyler picked it up. Pretty sure Ben picked it up as well. There was a line every morning, and they sold out every day. So this one's designed by, I'm going to butcher the name, Muneyuki Yokuchi, and artist Osama Inoue, and it's published by BGA Games. So Cat in the Box, it is a trick-taking game, and it does a few things that I haven't seen before in a trick-taking game that are pretty unique. So the way the game works is you have a deck of cards, and all of those cards look the same. They're black cards. There's 4 different suits in the game, but the cards you have don't represent any of those suits. You take out a certain number of cards based on the players. If you're playing with the full complement of players, the cards number from 1 to 9. You deal out the entire deck so everybody has an equal amount of cards. And then you look at your cards and you discard 1 card out of your hand of cards and put it next to this central playing board. So one unique thing about the game is that there is a board that you're playing tokens onto throughout the game. So this board has cards that you slide into it, and the cards have colors that are in all of the different suits of the game. So there's, I think, red, green, blue, and maybe yellow or something. There's like 4 different suits. And there's numbers on these cards, and then they correspond to the suit colors. And the numbers range from 1 to 9, or however many players based on the player count. So you get all these cards. You also have a central, a little player board yourself, and there's numbers in the middle, and you get to put a token on how many tricks you think you're going to win before the round starts. There's also all of the colors, the suits on this player board, kind of around the outside. So the way that it works is if you start the game, you look at your hand of cards and you play a card and you decide what the color of the suit is going to be for that card. So you lead with a color, and then everybody else gets to play a card. If you our next in turn order, you don't have to play the same color of the suit that was led. You can play a different color. So if I play blue, for example, to start, and it goes to Tyson, he can play blue. But if he doesn't, he can play offsuit, but he takes a token away from the blue section on his board, and he can't play blue for the rest of the round. So he can play whatever he wants, but there's a little bit of a penalty for the rest of the round. If I play a card, and let's say I play a 3 blue, there's a 3 blue on the player board. I take a token and I put it in the board in the center, and then the 3 blue is now gone. Nobody can play a 3 blue. It goes around, everybody plays, and then whoever plays the highest of the lead suit gets the trick. So it's just like any other trick-taking game. Red is trump. So if somebody plays a trump card, they get the trick instead. But if they play it offsuit, then they have to take that token off of whatever was led, if that makes sense. So as you're playing tokens in the middle, you're trying to line up those tokens so they're close to each other. At the end, if you win the number of tricks that you bid, then you get bonus points based on the tokens in the middle that are adjacent to each other. So you can, if you have 4 adjacent and you bid 2 and you won 2 tricks, you would get 4 bonus points for the middle, and then you would get points based on how many tricks that you had won. There are scenarios that if you play a card and you can't play it on the board, then it's a catastrophe, I think is what it's called. And the round automatically ends, and you get minus points based on how many tricks that you've won instead. So if you won 3, you get minus 3 points. Huh. Kind of a weird thing. And every round we played, there was a catastrophe. So I don't know if that's common or not. So that's kind of a weird part of the game. But you play a number of rounds based on the number of players, and whoever has the most points at the end wins.
That sounds awesome. This is one that I was all excited about. I brought it home. I think at one point it was maybe going to get played at a game night, and then it didn't. And I've opened it up and I sleeved the cards, but I haven't done anything else with it. But I'm excited to play this one.
Yeah.
I've been seeing it around a lot, and
yeah.
It's same thing. Like I would love to play this one.
I did look it through the rule book, and I was like, it didn't feel like the greatest rule book. So I'm kind of hoping that you'll teach it to us. I'll
happily teach it. It was not a good rule book. Not at all. There's some things in there that directly contradict other things, and that drives me nuts in rule books. Like if the rule book doesn't explain how to play the game clearly, and you have to make assumptions, it's like,
it's basically a house rule, and it's
basically
awful
a house
for
rule.
you.
Yeah, house rule at that point, it just kind of grates on me.
I thought after last episode you embraced house rules.
Oh yeah, I love them so much. No, it does. This game does a few things that are really cool. I've never seen area control in a trick-taking game. That's kind of a fun concept, and the fact that all of the cards are the same color and you choose the suit is kind of a cool thing in a trick-taking game. I thought that was pretty cool as well. It just gives you a lot more options and choices to make that don't normally exist in a game like this. And I'm excited to play more, kind of explore it a little bit more.
Cool.
So I'll gladly teach it. That's Cat in the Box.
That's awesome. So like I said, most of the games I've been playing lately have been on Board Game Arena. This game that I've been playing quite a bit is called Regicide. It is a published card game. However, you can play it with a standard deck of cards. This game came out in 2020. It was published by Badgers from Mars. It is designed by Paul Abrahams, Luke Badger, and Andy Rickdale. And I think I'll probably pick up a physical copy of it at some point, but for now I'm having a blast playing it, for the most part, solo on Board Game Arena. It's like $15 at Miniature Market and Game Nerds. In this game, you are trying to defeat the royalty. So you're going to have to defeat the 4 jacks, the 4 queens, and the 4 kings. So you separate those out from the deck, and you'll go against the jacks first, one at a time. So the jacks have 20 health and do 10 damage, okay? Queens are a little more powerful. They have 30 health and they do 15 damage. Kings, even more powerful and harder to beat, 40 health and they do 20 damage. So on your turn, you start out the game with 8 cards. And like I said, I've played this primarily solo. We tried one game on BGA the three of us.
I didn't realize it
We
was
didn't really know the rules, I don't think. And
I didn't even know it was a cooperative game until about turn 3.
So this is a game I've been playing like before I go to bed. It takes like 5 minutes to play a game, which is awesome. And I love that about it. So on your turn, you have the choice of playing one card. And let's say I played an 8 of spades. I will do 8 damage against that first jack. The jacks are random, so you don't know which suit is coming out first, which is important because each suit has a special ability, but when you're facing a face card of a specific suit, that ability is negated. So clubs do double damage. So if I played an 8 of clubs, it would do 16 damage. Spades, it still does the normal 8 damage, but then it's a shield basically. So it would take 8 away from the face card's attack. So if with a jack, their damage that they do is 10. If I play an 8 of spades, it's now down to 2 for the rest of until I defeat that jack. Okay. Diamond cards, draw more cards from your draw pile. Heart cards, move cards from your discard pile to your draw pile. Otherwise, you'll run out of cards at some point. So what happens is you play a card, you do damage, and you can play a single card, or you can play an ace with another card, or you can play a pair of cards as long as their sum is less than 10s or 10 or less. So I could play 2 5s, get both of those abilities, and do 10 damage. Okay, so it's a constant battle. You play a card, you do damage. Then the royalty card attacks you. So if the jack's attack is 10, I have to discard 1 or more cards whose sum is 10 or more. So you're constantly fighting this. I need to do damage, but I need to make sure that I'm drawing enough cards. I need to shield against their attacks as much as possible. Oh, dang it. I'm now facing off against the jack of spades. My shields are useless. I need to get rid of him as soon as I can. So I'm going to do as much damage as possible. It's a constant battle, and it's pretty easy to get through the jacks. And at this point, I don't really lose against the queens. When you get to the kings, though, it's really hard. You do have 2 jokers or jesters that when you would run out of cards because you are taking too much damage and you need to draw more, or you don't have another diamond in your hand, that's the only way to draw cards is to play a diamond. And so if you play a diamond and it's your last one and you draw a bunch of cards back up to 8, and you don't have a diamond, then you're going to either lose or end up using one of your jokers. So it's really hard, really fun. It's balancing doing enough damage, drawing enough cards to make sure I have enough to defend against their attacks, right? I've made it to the last king once. I've made it to the second to last king a couple times. I still haven't beat it. This game's a blast. Seriously, it takes like 5 minutes to play. A lot of fun. I really enjoy it.
That sounds fun. I got to give it another shot. I like those games, the co-op games that are hard to beat, that aren't super easy. Because when you make progress or when you beat it, it's an accomplishment. Yeah. And it sounds like this is that game. Like when you beat it, you're like, yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, that's either I'm terrible at it or that's my perception that, it's just a hard game. But when I finally beat it, it's going to feel awesome.
Cool. Yeah, that's really cool. I like that.
If I kind of enjoy just playing it solo, I'm sure it's fun in a team setting. Our first effort didn't go so well. I guess Tyson thought he wasn't playing a cooperative game.
I wasn't sure. I had no idea what was going on.
Well, I think you just set out the invite without any context, right? We're like,
yeah, I did.
We're like, what is this?
That's what I'm doing.
I saw that it was on Board Game Arena, and I was like, oh, I've been hearing about this game quite a bit. I want to get it played, and it has not disappointed. I'm really excited about it.
Your description of it reminds me of my experiences with like Button Shy games. They're solo games that I like to play, and I've really enjoyed those. So I wonder if I gave this one a shot at solo, how I'd experience, and then I'd actually learn the rules, and then maybe want to come play it. So that'd be awesome. I think it's great. And like I said, you could play with a standard deck of cards. I feel like at some point
I need to support the publisher. It's $15. Like, and it's got some cool, unique art, but you can play with just a regular old deck of cards. So
Yeah, you'll get $15 out of entertainment out of it for sure. Right?
yeah, absolutely.
So, quick clarification on Cat in the Box.
Oh,
I called when you can't play a catastrophe, right?
Is it a quantum something or?
It is a paradox.
I knew it was something.
As soon as I said it, I said catastrophe before. I'm like, that's not right. So I just looked it up on BGG, and it's
Now I feel like it's a missed opportunity, though.
I kind of like catastrophe better, right? Catastrophe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right. Yeah, that's good. That's good. But no, it's actually a paradox. And now you know.
Awesome. I thought you were about to start doing another game and skip Tyson.
Well, I was thinking about that too, but
well, I can talk to some catastrophes here because the next game I'm talking about.
I love his transitions.
that transition, that was primo. Really good. Really
Thank you. Except it was interrupted, so it didn't actually transition.
Oh, no, you transitioned. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay, go.
The catastrophe I'm talking about here is a catastrophe that happens during a hellish thunderstorm on the stroke of midnight. There echoes a bone-chilling scream. The townsfolk rush to investigate and find the town storyteller murdered, their body impaled on the hands of the Clocktower, blood dripping onto the cobblestones below.
Descriptive.
A demon is on the loose, murdering by night and disguised in human form by day. Some have scraps of information, others have abilities that fight the evil or protect the innocent. But the demon and its evil minions are spreading lies to confuse and breed suspicion. Will the good townsfolk put the puzzle together in time to execute the true demon and save themselves? Or will evil overrun this once peaceful village? What I'm talking about is Blood on the Clocktower. This is a game designed by Stephen Medway, published by the Pandemonium Institute, and it plays between 5 and 20 players. This is a social deduction game. And if you've listened to this podcast for any amount of time, you know that I love social deduction games and I love the idea of deception in board games. And this game is rife with that. Now, I will say that this is a very expensive social deduction game. I think I paid $165 for this game.
Woo.
It is pricey.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, the reason I was willing to spend that is because I kept hearing descriptions from other content creators saying stuff like, this is the quintessential social deduction game. This is the social deduction game to end all social deduction games, the only one you'll need. So what makes this different than any other social deduction game? Well, the big difference is you have a storyteller role. And think of D&D like a DM. That's essentially what's going on with this storyteller. The storyteller creates this kind of scenario where they have to set everything up and they have to be familiar with everything, and they kind of run this game. And the real cool part is that the storyteller is kind of part of the story, and they have the ability to lie to the players and to kind of make it the best possible scenario ever. The other real big distinguisher about this game is that when you die in this game, because you will die, and most likely everybody but a few are going to end up
maybe
dead.
Really early too,
And maybe really early.
Earlier than expected?
Possibly.
You will die and you will get to remain a ghost in this game. So unlike other social deduction games where you're dead and you can't talk and you have to sit and watch for the rest of the game, this one allows ghosts to interact. And in fact, they can talk and they can cast dispersions. They can
try to influence things.
They can go have collaborations with other players secretly, do whatever they want.
And still win, ultimately.
Correct. And they have the ability to vote, but only once for the rest of the game. So
which kind of sucks. I'm not going to lie.
It's rough, right? Because you have to decide when do I use that, or how can I really influence.
It sounds like you are a ghost, Kevin.
We'll get to that.
So there's a lot going on in this game. I have only played this game once. Kevin obviously played with me, and we played a player count of 9. And there was a lot of people, and it was a learning game. And like I said, that storyteller role has a lot to balance. What I really like, though, is the storyteller gets what's called the grimoire. And the grimoire is like you're using the box and it looks like a tome. And it creates this atmosphere. It sets the mood. I think this game has a lot of presence that other social deduction games don't have. And so as the storyteller, I have this tome that is tracking everything going on in the game. Who's alive, who's dead, who's what role, what they're doing, what lies are being shared, etc. And like it gives you a script to run through and how to go through things. And so there's a lot going on and there's a lot to track, which means for a brand new storyteller like myself, there's a lot of potential for error. And
who got murdered?
Who got murdered?
Yeah.
A lot of people.
No, I mean,
like
the storyteller
gets murdered, but remember that.
But then you're still telling a story.
Remember
as a ghost?
that ghosts are a presence in this game, so it doesn't matter if you're dead or not. In Ravenswood Bluff, everybody is able to communicate with the dead.
So I have a couple of questions. How many different stories are there, or is it always the same story?
No, so there's. So I have 3 different scenarios, but you can also purchase up to 6 more or something like that. So there's a lot of potential content in there. And every one of those scenarios has about 20 different roles in it. So
you could potentially play the same scenario and it wouldn't be ruined.
Correct.
No, it's just a different
because
experience.
the roles are hidden.
Right. And
Yeah.
and it's not like there is narrative injected in there based off of how your storyteller is doing things, but you can play the exact same roles, everything over and over again. But the thing is, the storyteller is creating that and secretly putting in different roles. So you don't know as a player what roles are available and who's going to be in there or what, but you have a sheet in front of you that tells you all the different things that could be there. And so you're trying to think, okay, this information is out there. My role allows me to have this type of information. So how do I use my information that I have to deduce what else is
what
going
everybody
on?
else is type of thing.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're really excited about it. Would you be interested in playing it as not the storyteller?
I would love to play it not as the storyteller.
And I would not like to play it as the storyteller, I think. I just don't think that would be
it's hard.
Yeah, I think that'd be tough.
So for me, I want to love this game because I think it has the potential to be the best social deduction game out there.
You're always going to be the storyteller.
But I'm always going to be the storyteller.
you are.
And I don't love the storyteller role for me personally.
Yeah.
Because
I think
there's so much that rides on
I
it.
bet
It's
Ben
exhausting.
could pull that off.
Oh,
And he
I
would,
think-
would bring the theatrics too.
I think Ben would do an awesome
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
But there is the chance to make small little errors that affect the game. Like,
It's huge impact, like your experience.
yeah, but you're not supposed to be able to be murdered in the first round, right?
I totally let
Except
that
if you're
happen.
me, because I got murdered in the first round. And I was talking to Alicia, my wife, and she's like, we're trying to figure out who's who. And she's like, well, this is just strange because you died in the first round, but you weren't supposed to. How's that? And there's the chance of having those small little errors come in as a storyteller. But there's so much to the game, it's easy to do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure after you play it more and more, you're not going to make those errors, right?
To a degree, there's still potential for that because like I said, there's 3 different scenarios in there and over 20 different roles per scenario. Plus you have the travelers and box, which allows you to inject different things. So if somebody wants to drop in or drop out, or you have it accommodates for different accessibility issues and things like that. So it makes it for if you have a kid or somebody with a learning disability or somebody
Which is awesome that they
Right.
put that
You
in there.
could have potentially had Kevin drop back in as a different character, traveler, maybe? No?
No, I would have been the same character. At least in this scenario, I would.
there could have been a potential
I'll
way to do
strike that from
because
the record.
Stricken.
there's just a lot of ways that this game has. You have to learn everything, and really as the storyteller, it's really incumbent upon you to know everything beforehand. And if you haven't played the game at all, it's hard to really understand how the nuances work and
How it's going to flow.
exactly,
And, it's
and
like-
where to assist and where to pull back, and
and it's not like you can play a solo version of it to get
No.
to get
No.
the rules down.
minimum
right?
player count is 5.
Yeah.
and it. Looking at the 5-player count, I would really probably not want to play at 5. 8 players is probably the lowest player count that I'd like to play it at. Maybe 7, but probably 8. But there's a lot of really cool things that go on in the game, and I want to love it. But I want somebody who is an experienced storyteller to show me the ropes and then play it. It's just, I just
You
remember.
you did a great job. I mean, there was no complaints there other than I died the first round.
Right.
But
I mean, had an impact. Fortunately,
which
you
is
had
fine.
a role that your information, you already had all
I
the
had
information.
that the first round anyway. It didn't matter that I died. So really it was, if I died the second round, it made no difference at all.
I mean, the biggest issue is that you lost a potential to vote, right?
That was the only thing.
And that was a big thing.
And you aren't knocked out, like you said, which is good. And you can talk and influence and everything. But having one vote when everybody else can just vote willy-nilly, right, that's a little bit of a bummer.
Disheartening a little bit.
A little bit. I completely understand why it's there. And it's a lot better than not being able to do anything. I get that. But I was like, man, I kind of want to vote a little bit more. Because that one vote for the rest of the game, that's a big vote.
Right. And when do you use that?
And
because
which is kind of cool now that I think about it. It does make it more impactful.
Well, and you used your one vote at the right time. Otherwise, the game would have ended. I mean, but ultimately, it was also
lost.
too late.
Yeah, it was too late.
But
yeah.
So who won?
The demons. So it was Ben was a poisoner. And then Colton, who is a friend of ours, he was the demon, the imp. So they both survived until there were two people left. And
does the storyteller ever win or have a potential to win?
No. At least not in the scenario that I played. That's possible.
You're just facilitating.
It looks beautiful. Do you feel like you got your money's worth, or that you're going to get your money's worth out of it? Because you said it was pretty pricey.
It is pricey. If you're not going to treat this as a lifestyle game and you're not going to play this regularly, then you're not going to get your money's worth out of it. And for me, I want to play it again, and I really want to play it again with lots of people, and I want to explore it and do all the stuff in it. It's just daunting, like for me to organize it and set it up. And for me, I want the environment to be there too. Cause I set it up where we had the lighting and we had candles and we had food and snacks and we had...
It was really romantic.
It was really sweet, yeah. But no,
it was good. It was good.
Did you have ominous music playing in the background?
Yeah, ominous music playing.
The most ominous.
And then I used my book light, and it created the opportunity for me to see the grimoire, so it could be darker. And I feel like it created a really cool ambience that I enjoyed, and I would love to do that. But that, on top of knowing everything as a storyteller, makes it daunting to want to do that.
Yeah, it's a big production to kind of put on, and to get that many people together, to coordinate schedules for that many people, because you would want, ideally, to play with the same group, right?
Correct.
Because everybody knows the game at that point.
Or a couple of new people here and there, right?
Yeah, but for the most part, it's going to go a lot smoother if people know, or at least have a base of what the game's all about, you know. I think ultimately for me, I don't know if I like social deduction games. Yeah. I don't know.
I was wondering your perspective, because now you had just gotten off a 25-mile bike ride, so I couldn't tell if you were exhausted and not interested in the game, or if you were just completely this game is terrible. I screwed stuff up for you, so I was concerned about how you had received that experience.
I don't think the game was terrible. I think I had fun playing it, and I think it does a lot of things really well. And I think really, if you invest the time and you play it a lot, I think it could be awesome. And especially when there's different scenarios and different roles and everything. I just don't know if for me, I want to put that effort in to get to that point. You know, I would absolutely play it again. And anytime, I have the chance to play it, I would do it. But I just don't know if social deduction games are my thing, And I was thinking about that afterwards. It's what social deduction games have I played that I really enjoyed? And I don't know. That may not be a genre that I gravitate to,
Yeah.
But that's just me. I think the game looks beautiful and well produced, and it makes me a little bit nervous about. I would never want to be the storyteller role. You know?
I'm a little nervous when you said that you had kind of the ambiance going and it was dark. Did anybody trip on that one step that you have?
No, no, just that one time when
we thought maybe died. I don't know. There was a big thump upstairs when he left.
We finished. Was it Moonrakers we were playing?
I think so. Yeah. Had to leave, and we played one game afterwards.
But I keep my lights off because my kids are asleep, and some of my kids keep their doors open, so I don't want them to wake up. So when we leave the basement to go up and we don't turn on lights, I have a little landing, a step, and if you don't pay attention, you'll go face forward.
Has anybody asked about that because he could have done some damage. It was a big thump. It was a big thump.
I mean, in the dark, I would have tripped there too.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's
I forget that it's there.
Nothing against. It's just he didn't see the step.
Yeah, well, interestingly, Mark commented on that the last time we were playing at my house this last weekend, and I think my wife may have noticed that happen because she turned on like some Christmas lights so that it was like in the living room, so that it was
you need like
lighted.
August.
It's like Christmas-y lights, not for Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're the one to talk.
Yeah.
You start putting up Christmas in October, right? Or as
You
soon
start
as, soon as
listening in
Halloween's
August.
over, right?
Are you listening to Christmas music already?
No, I'm not allowed to until November 1st. I sneak it a little early on in the fall, but not
sound
in
like
the
a drug
house.
addict.
Yeah. We're probably a week or two away from seeing Christmas stuff show up in the stores.
That's true.
That's probably
Well, your stare. You need like in movie theaters they have the lights
lighted,
along the
Or
walkway.
Christmas lights
walkways.
work too.
Christmas lights work as well. I don't know.
So-
something like that.
It sounds fun.
Back to Blood on the Clock.
Yeah.
I like the idea a lot, and I want to love this game. I feel similar to how I felt about Oath way back when we talked about Oath a little bit, in that this is a lifestyle game, and you have to kind of be committed to that. If you're not willing to commit to that, I would not go out and purchase this game. I would seek it out. If like somebody is willing to be a good storyteller and you have access to this game, absolutely.
Try before you buy it. Yeah.
But like to invest the money, unless you know that you're the type of person to want to be that storyteller, it's a big ask. It's like, and it's a big ask to ask any of your players who are you're not playing this regularly with to do that. So
the owner of the game is going to do it most of the time.
I would think so.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I think I want to play this a couple more times to really, because I feel like after playing it the one time, I've got a better understanding, and I think that we would enjoy it better a second time. But I would still like to play with a lot of the same people and hopefully maybe add a couple more people.
Let's do it.
So I think we've talked a lot about the things we've been playing lately. Let's go on and talk about the main thing. We're going to be talking about our top 5 games we like to play on Board Game Arena. So to kick us off, Kevin, what is your number 5 game you like to play on Board Game Arena?
Yeah, so it's no secret that our group loves Board Game Arena, right? We're playing all the time.
All the time.
And there are games getting added constantly.
It's been awesome.
It's been fantastic. There are just really good games, like complex games, easy games all over the place. So the first game that I want to talk about that hits my number 5 spot is a game that came out in 2019. It's a game that I've had on my shelf of shame since around Christmas time, and that is Barrage. This one's in beta. It has not been in beta for long. So I don't have a whole lot of plays of it, but I took the time a few weeks ago to read through the rules and get a game played. And it's a fantastic game. It's cutthroat. It's got a ton of strategy, very little luck, a million little bits and pieces, which you don't see on the digital adaptation, which is kind of a good thing. It's a table hog for sure. I had it set up on my table for probably 3 weeks trying to get it played. But like we mentioned before, COVID hit and that didn't happen. So why do I like it on BGA? Well, one thing is when you open the game, it gives you what's called a Barrage tour, and it goes through the interface and how to interpret the interface, right? Which with a game this complex, that's pretty awesome, right? So that's the first thing that kind of impressed me about the game. There's a lot to process. There's a lot to get your head around in this game. And I think the game does a pretty good job on Board Game Arena of guiding you where to look and how to play. It's very good on Board Game Arena as a turn-based game. When you get these complex games, what I really enjoy about them on BGA is I can have as much time as I want to think about my turn, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't feel pressured about, that stress of what I'm going to do in a short time frame. I can actually think about my turn a little bit longer than I normally would, which really helps me. And especially when I'm learning a game, I can maybe go back and reference the rules a little bit to make sure I'm doing what I should be doing type of thing. And that's kind of helpful.
And that undo button, you can always, oh, no, wait, that wasn't the optimal strategy.
Well, and not every game has that. This one has a 15-second countdown after you make your selection, right? Which that's about all the time you need. Because you can hit something wrong easily, right?
Point Salad has that countdown.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy. It's ruined me so many times.
Well, the flip your card thing on that one is a little bit weird.
Yeah.
But, anyway, it's a fantastic game. I'm excited to explore it more and to I'm terrible at it. I'm in my 5th game now. I've won 1 game. I think that might have been the first time the other person had played because our scores were. I mean, I scored a lot better than I did the first 2 times, but it's just got a lot to explore, and I'm excited to explore it. But you're constantly blocking people, and you're thinking about how the water's going to flow, if it's going to go to your power plants or not. And that's the whole purpose of the game. So if somebody blocks you, you're like, crap. I probably should have done a better job planning ahead. It's just what the game is. So I don't know, as I've been playing it, it doesn't really compare to anything that I've played before.
It's one that I've wanted to try, and I've wanted to try it on BGA, but I worry I'm going to have the Teotihuacan experience of I have no idea what I'm doing for so long, and I'm going to play 10 games of it and still have no concept of what's going on.
Well, so I like I said, I have the physical version. I had the rule book up in my bedroom for about a week, and I just read it.
That's how I
then
lost.
Go back to it.
I lost my Feast for Odin book.
Oh, you lost it?
Yeah.
You don't have the rule book anymore?
It's somewhere up in my bedroom.
It's probably,
yeah. We'll find it soon. But
luckily, I didn't lose the Barrage rule book. It's safely back in the box where it belongs. Yeah.
For the record, I don't treat your games that way. When I borrow them.
Wait a minute.
Ra's right there.
Ra's
still has the rule book in there.
We're going to see how many podcasts we can bring up Ra before I get it back.
So I definitely want to play this game, but I want to play it on the table with you before I even attempt to play it on Board Game Arena.
Yeah, I want to get it played on the table too. It definitely has a table presence, which is... And we've talked about the art in the game. It's just awesome. Another thing about BGA is it kind of retains that feel. So you obviously still have all the art in there, and the backdrop in the BGA page has some of the art as well, which kind of adds, even though you're playing the digital version, you're kind of immersed in it a little bit, which they do a good job of that.
When you're playing this, do you play like audio of like a stream or a brook that's flowing?
Well, like I put on a babbling brook playlist. Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
And it's one that I've definitely wanted to try. And like you said, it's a big game. So one of the advantages I think of BGA is that these big games you're able to learn. I think on the other side of the coin, though, one of the advantages of BGA is you can play a lot of small games fast, and that's where my number 5 comes in. My number 5 is a small game that you can play really quickly, and you can get a lot of games in it. I've got 63 plays of Can't Stop, a game older than the internet itself, designed by Sid Saxon. This is a push your luck game that has a lot of fun moments in it. It's not a really depthy game, but I really like this game because on BGA I can play it really quickly. One of the really great things I think about it specifically on BGA is that I don't have to think about what I'm doing or what my strategy was on. Sometimes when I'm playing games on BGA, if it's a game that I have to have a specific strategy I'm working towards, it's hard to remember, hey, what was I doing on my last turn? I never have that issue with it. Can't Stop, because basically I open it up and I go, oh, that's what I want to do.
It's very straightforward, right?
Let's go get some 7s. Let's go get some 8s, right? Whatever it might be. And it's fun. I've entered a lot of tournaments with this one. And that's one of the things I really love about BGA is the tournaments and just being able to go and see how far I can make it. And this is a great game, I think, for that. So that's why I love Can't Stop.
Have you won a tournament yet?
Not even close.
I've won 2.
Oh.
I've played 176 games of this, and I would say probably about 120 of those were tournament games. It's a blast to play on BGA. And again, it's little to no thought at all, which is a good balance to some of those heavier games, right?
Well, and I think you used this game specifically to try and inflate your plays so that
I
you
did.
could get
I was
alpha
I was
status?
trying to get to 1,000 games played so I could get alpha status to early access to games. And this was one that I was playing heavily to make that happen.
You have to have 1,000 plays?
It's 500
Oh, 500.
because I'm 3 short.
It's not 500.
It is
I should
500.
have. How do you get alpha status?
You have to have
I'm over.
500 game plays and 50 unique games played. Then once you do that, make a request to get alpha status.
Oh, because I'm well over 500 games.
So yeah, that's can't stop.
So if you've listened to this podcast, you know that I don't like to write. Or
you
the
do not.
Trauma, the horror.
That, and it's just tedious to write anything or draw anything, and I'm terrible at art. So yeah, and I also hate erasing things even more than writing things.
Oh my gosh.
So anyway, this game is perfect for me on Board Game Arena. It is my number 5. I have 61 plays, Railroad Inc. And I love this game on Board Game Arena. In fact, you can play the blue and the red currently, but the yellow and green versions of this game are in alpha. And so we've started playing a few of those. But this game is awesome. Railroad Inc., there's a number of dice that get rolled, and everybody who's playing has to use those dice on their own little map. And they're trying to connect stations. There's roads and there's railroads, and some of the expansions add in volcanoes and meteors and lakes and all kinds of cool stuff, right? You score a lot of points based on the number of exits that you connect, and just how well you can use those dice to add to your map each round. There's 6 or 7 rounds based on which version of the game you're playing. I love this game because, everybody has the same dice. It's cool to see how different the maps are at the end of the game. We've talked about this game in a number of episodes. It's an awesome game. I love it on BGA because when I start adding stuff, I can completely undo what I've done for that round and start over. And, if I make a mistake or if I see something better, whereas if I was playing it on the table, that's a lot of writing and a lot of erasing that I don't want to do.
That's right. And I've played a lot of Railroad Inc., including on the table. And every once in a while, you just lay your hand down on the board
And smudge.
and
It's
it'll
a
smudge.
marker board, right?
Yeah, it's dry erase. Yeah. So that's really easy to do. I love drawing the routes on the table. I don't have any problem with that. But yeah, there's no getting around the simplicity of Board Game Arena. And like you said, if you want to undo your move, you just click a button, all of a sudden it's gone.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah.
And it tracks which ones you've made that round. Whereas if you're doing it yourself on table, like, did I do this one this round?
Well, you're supposed to write the number.
You are.
You're supposed to.
One more
That's what
tedious
that
thing
means.
to do.
I've never known what
Oh, the
that
number is like, what you do for the current round. So you can track that. But yeah, sometimes maybe you forget.
One more tedious thing to do.
I do love,
Yeah.
like that's one of the features I love about Board Game Arena is it tracks a lot of stuff, the upkeep of stuff that I don't care to do, right? Like
Which can be bad.
it can
Yes,
be
it
bad,
can.
but
Ooh.
in Railroad Inc., it also scores as I'm going, so I can go and put a route down and then finalize that and then see what the points are, and then I'm like, nope, that's not where I want that, and then undo and redo it, and so it's calculating that score for me. So there's not a lot of thought in it, and I'm just looking for the optimal route at certain times. So I like that about it on BGA.
Yeah. So, and Railroad Inc., I mean, that's one of my favorite roll and writes that exists. It's one of the ones I like to play the most. So.
It's one of the games that I'm best at too. So
Yeah, what's your winning percentage?
You won, didn't you?
So I just checked. I've played 39 games.
Yeah.
Of the 39 games I've played, I've won 3.
3. That's more than I would have thought.
Less than 10% of the games have I won. Though I do think I am getting better at it because I think I'm getting closer to second and third places more consistently. It's that first place that I still just can't get very much.
It's funny in that game how many ties happen.
Yeah, I feel like I've tied with Mark the last couple times.
He's won the tiebreaker both times.
Yes.
I think, right?
Yeah. That was messed up, Mark.
That's a great game.
Yeah, I like that. So that was my number 5, Railroad Inc., published by horrible guild.
All right, my number 4 is, and we've talked about this game before. It is Azul. This is designed by Michael Kiesling and published by Next Move Games. So similar to Can't Stop, Azul is a game that doesn't have. You don't need a lot of brain power to play this one. Your turn comes around, and usually you kind of know what the optimal move is going to be. Those games are fantastic. I love the heavier games on BGA, but I love the lighter games as well, where, I could be anywhere and take my turn, even maybe if there's a lull at a work meeting or something, I can
a stoplight.
Or a stop. I have done that before as well. Yeah. Or a stoplight or something.
As a passenger, of course.
Oh yeah. Passenger. Yeah, absolutely. So what I like about the BGA application or implementation, you can adjust the player boards easily so that you can see everybody's player board right in front of you. So to make that decision of what I want to pass on or what I want to draft so that somebody else either gets or doesn't get tiles is really easy in Board Game Arena. So it makes hate drafting even easier when you play it on BGA, which is a big part of the game, right? So I like that part of it. It's just a fun, simple game to play. It's great turn-based. When it comes to be my turn, I take my turn, and then, however long it takes to get back. I think it's just a great turn-based game. And like I said, it doesn't take a whole lot of brain power to play. So Azul, that's my number 4.
And we've talked a lot about Azul on the podcast before, and I don't think we can say much more other than the fact that I think it does work really well, like you said, Kevin, on BGA, and this is a great use of it. So I am a big fan of that choice. My number 4 is Jekyll versus Hyde. Now, this is a 2-player game. It's a 2-player trick-taking game specifically. And one of the reasons I selected this is because I don't often get the opportunity to play 2-player games on the table. And so I don't see the need to purchase them because I won't really get them played. But I feel like I miss out on a lot of really good games. So I love that BGA has the ability for me to try games that I otherwise wouldn't be able to play. And this was one of them. So Jekyll versus Hyde is a trick-taking game where one of you takes on the role of Dr. Jekyll and the other takes on Mr. Hyde. Your goal is, as Dr. Jekyll, to have balance and have an equal number of tricks taken between you and Hyde. And Hyde's goal is to cause chaos. He doesn't care who gets the most tricks or who gets the least, as long as there's a disparate amount between the two players. So he wants the biggest gap between you, which makes for some really interesting decisions. And that's why I really like this game. It has some choices in it that I haven't seen in other trick-taking games. And I love trick-taking, and I didn't think that there was a lot of room for 2-player trick-taking games, and this, I think, does a great job at it. I've played it 22 times on BGA, and it's still there. I'm developing and finding new strategies and ways to handle things.
I do wish it would track how many wins you get with Jekyll versus how many you get with Hyde, or losses, right? That'd be a cool stat to see.
I feel like it's easier to win with Hyde a lot of the times, but then again, I've
won with Jekyll. I've
won with Jekyll, and I've also been destroyed by another player with Jekyll. There was like nothing I could do multiple times, that they're just far superior to me at playing. And so it's interesting that you get to explore those different strategies with a game like this through BGA.
Yeah, I need to revisit this one. We started playing initially when we had no idea what we were doing. Right?
Yeah,
I was convinced that I was going to win a game, and then you won.
I was convinced you were going to win too.
I had no idea what was going on. Yeah, rules are hard, but I need to revisit this one because it was a lot of fun. It does some unique things, so that's cool.
Yeah, I've got 22 plays. I've won 8 times. So, but it says 43%.
How does that work?
So I think it throws out the ones that
training mode
and games that weren't completed. So they count towards the total games, but not towards the percentage.
Right.
So
so that was my number 4, Jekyll versus Hyde.
All right. So my number 4 is my favorite Tom Lehman game, and it is Res Arcana. I love this game. I have 56 plays on Board Game Arena. They have one of the expansions added to it on BGA, which I really like. It would be awesome if they could add it in the Perle Imperii expansion or whatever it's called.
Agreed.
But I love this game. It is, you draft a number of cards to start out the game, and each one of them has one or more special abilities that you can use over the course of the game. You have a mage with asymmetric powers. You're playing round to round to round until somebody gets to 10 points, and then whoever has the most points wins. This is by far and away my favorite Tom Lehman game, and I love that it's on BGA and is really this game has a little bit of upkeep when you play it on the table. I feel like it's so much simpler to play on BGA. Yeah.
You can knock out a game super quick.
This is another game like Railroad Inc. where I've played a ton of and lost most of. And I'm really upset about the last game we played because I totally would have beat Kevin if he had a.
Wait, did you win that one?
I won that one, yeah.
Because
in
the
the
one
sixth round.
It dragged on forever.
That game rarely goes to 6. Well, the game before that was 3 rounds.
Yeah,
I won in 3 rounds.
I had an amazing strategy that I had never tried before, and then Kevin wins it half a round before I was going to win it.
Yeah, that game was awesome.
Well, this last one, Kevin auto-ended it, and I was like, oh, I got 5 more points coming in. I got this one in the bag.
Oh, really?
You auto-ended it.
I did. I checked for victory using like Coral
ah!
Palace or whatever. Yeah. That was
I thought Tyson did win.
No, I won. I checked for victory right when I had 11 points.
Oh, nice. Well done. This game took forever. I had a few dragons and I was constantly using them.
Super annoying.
There was one time I saw that Tyson only had gold, and so I played it.
Oh, you made him burn gold?
Burned all my gold.
Oh, that is brutal.
To cash it in too.
That's like when you have to feed your people in Stone Age gold to keep them happy at the end of the round.
This game is awesome. I love the fact that you have 8 cards. And that's it for the whole game, right? And you need to figure out how to get those 8 cards to work for you. You wouldn't think that
you could make
whole
so many
game
engines out of those.
You wouldn't think you could make a whole game out of that, right?
Right.
But there's so many things that you can do. It's just crazy.
And of course, you have the opportunity to buy monuments and places of power, which give you other abilities. But the first couple times we played, I was like, really? I only get 8 cards,
right? And I get to draw 1 card per round.
Yeah.
It's like, huh? Yeah.
But it is awesome. I love this game. It's by far his best game, in my opinion. Much better than all those space ones that he's done.
All those space ones, whatever. You're trying to start a fight, aren't you?
No. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right.
So that was my number 4, Res Arcana.
All right. So my number 3 is 7 Wonders Duel. I've played this game 28 times on BGA. 7 Wonders Duel, it's designed by Antoine Bauza and Bruno Cathala and is produced by Repost Productions. So this is similar to what you said, Tyson. I don't get the chance to play 2-player games that often myself either. Usually when I'm playing, it's with our game group and we've got 3 to 5 people, 3 to 6, whatever. And it just doesn't come up that often. But on BGA, then I have the chance to play 2-player games whenever I want. And 7 Wonders Duel is one of those. This is a drafting game set in the 7 Wonders universe. And one of the things I like about it, and I haven't explored it yet, is I love when they add expansions to games in BGA. And I haven't played these. Have you played the expansions to this, Tyler?
I played, but I didn't really read the rules.
Oh, it was clicking buttons?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I kind of figured it out, but yeah.
Yeah, the base game is really enough for me at this point, but I'm excited that I can explore the expansions when I'm ready to explore the expansions. This game, it's a short game, but the decisions that you make in the game, it just blows my mind how tough those decisions are every time I play. And for a 2-player drafting game, it's just amazing, and I love it. Tyler and I have played quite a bit, and
that's awesome.
It's just so much fun. Like more often than not, it comes down to, because there's cards that are flipped over and you don't know what they are, And you take cards and then it reveals cards underneath. And it comes down to the last round. If I flip over this card that I need, I'm going to win, whether it's a military victory, a science victory, or whatever that may be. And that tension of, what's it going to be?
Yeah.
And then if it's not what you need, you're like, oh. And if it is what you need, you're like, yeah. And then Tyler's like, whatever, Kevin. Or I'm like, whatever, Tyler. And it's just a fun experience. And it's a great implementation on BGA.
Yeah, I love it on BGA. I mean, it's great on the table too, but again, you can play this in 10 or 15 minutes really fast on BGA, whereas on the table, it takes a little bit longer to put out all the cards and set them up. And I don't know. It's awesome. It's such a good game.
Yeah.
This is my favorite game in the Seven Wonders family, easily.
Yeah, I still love the original. I've been playing that since 2009 when it came out. But I've played this one a lot more, and I think it could be my favorite as well. It just does it really well.
That's a good one. I haven't played too much of it, but it's one that I would agree, of all the Seven Wonders games I've played, this is the one I like the most.
I thought you liked Architects the most, Tyler. No, I was like, yeah, that's your favorite?
Yeah. No, I didn't like that game. I thought that was pretty generic.
Yeah.
It seemed a little simplistic.
That was
right.
Well, and that was another one. One of the things I like about BGA is that you can play some games and just figure them out by pushing buttons and stuff. And Architects was one of those.
Yep.
But as soon as I started figuring things out, I was like, is there much to figure out here? Maybe I should go read these rules.
Is this a game or an activity?
Determine what I'm doing. And then I was like, this is all really random. I don't love this.
The funny thing is it gets a lot of love.
Yeah.
It does.
I've
Maybe
been a little
missing
surprised
something.
about that.
Yeah.
Maybe we should revisit it.
Let's do it.
It's free for us to revisit it.
All right, I'm sending out an invite. Let's do it.
Well, this next one is a game that I know we all agree on because it's one we reviewed in episode 5, Railways of the World. Now, I'm not going to go into all of the different things about Railways of the World because if you want to listen to our thoughts on that, go back to episode 5 to hear that. However, I will say the reason I like this on BGA so much is because similar to what Kevin was just talking about, you get a lot of expansion opportunities in some games in BGA. Railways of the World has so much variety and variability in it that you can play so many different styles of this game. So I've played every map that's on there, and Kevin just invited us to a Nippon, which was a brand new map that I hadn't played yet, and so I was excited about that. But this game has so much variety in it that it's always changing and you're always doing something different. And I love that about this. And that's why I love this one as my number 3 on BGA games. I've played it 20 times so far, and I'm still exploring and loving this one.
Yeah, I love Railways of the World. It's got a pretty simple rule set, but it's got a lot of strategy to it. It's just a lot of fun. So I enjoy it as well. And I want to play the transcontinental
I do too.
version.
The 6,
We should get some more players.
the West and the Eastern boards together,
right?
And having a massive. Yeah,
I don't know the rule. I think there's some slight rules differences there, but we should figure that out and play.
Get some other people to play with us.
Yeah,
agreed. I don't want to play that as a 3-player game.
We should throw it in the Discord and see if anybody's interested. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I loved when we played this game the first time, obviously, before we reviewed it, and we played it on the table and then found out afterwards that it was on Board Game Arena and was like, yes, we can explore this a ton more. It's been a lot of fun playing. I love this game. So my number 3, I have 38 plays, and Kevin just talked about it as his number 3, Seven Wonders Duel. So I'll leave it at that.
All right. My number 2 is a game we've referenced a lot on this podcast. And that is Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Did you hear my sigh?
I did. I did. Was that you finally admitting that this is better?
It was
than
a
Dune
peaceful
Imperium?
resolution,
Right?
Yeah,
He's like, it's true. It's true. This one is better than Dune Imperium. If you want to hear our thoughts on that, go back to episode, was it 2? It was
any number of episodes.
We've talked about this one a lot. So this one, this one's just a lot of fun. I love I love playing through, both sides of the board, whether it's the snake side or the what is it? The bird.
Yeah.
I think it's a bird.
Yeah.
Birds.
Is it a phoenix?
It's Phoenix. I think it's the Phoenix side. The different tracks on the side. I mean, the combos that you make in this game. I don't know if it's a Phoenix. I have no idea.
Go with it.
But we're gonna go with it, like we know what we're talking about. I love the combos in the game. I think the interface is really clean. It's really good. I think it plays well. In the digital application is really, really good on this one. I've played it. Let's see how many times. 45 plays on BGA, which is quite a few. So it's Lost Ruins of Arnak. It's great.
It's one that I've also played a lot. I've played 31 games of this one, and I really enjoy that you can explore things about a game on BGA more because you can really like flesh it out. At first, when we played this game originally, like when we were having the Dune Arnak debates early on, I thought, oh, well, I feel like there's a prescribed way to win this game. And I thought it was just go high up on that research track. And the more I've played it, the more I've seen that there are varieties of ways to win this game. And that's one of the reasons I really love BGA, is because I can really understand the depth and nuance of the games and really see how well some things are fleshed out, and some games realize how sometimes they're not fleshed out as well.
And it's low risk too, right?
Right.
So if you dedicate a game night to playing a game, I mean, you may not be as inclined to try a crazy strategy because that's what you're playing for the whole night. But like if you're playing a game on BGA, I'm going to do some crazy strategy that I would never even think of and just see how it works, because I can just start a new game after that.
Because why not? And,
because why not?
Yeah. So yeah,
nothing's on the line.
Nothing is ever on the line, right? But when you're just playing on BGA, I don't know. It goes a lot quicker. There's not the setup involved, and it just seems like you can try crazier stuff. Maybe that's just
I didn't realize there was that much to flesh out with this game.
There is. So that's Lost Ruins of Arnak.
So my next one on the list is my number 2 game, which is A Feast for Odin. Now
I lost my rule book.
Yeah. We've had this conversation.
You should totally find that, because it's kind of important.
I was hoping you would have saved that for this
my
conversation.
Instruction manual.
But A Feast for Odin, the reason I put this one on my list for BGA implementations is that this is one of those big games, right? That is hard to get to the table, and it's hard to teach as well, with, I think, 60 plus action possibilities in this game. It's a daunting game for most people. So I don't often get a chance to play this game, but people on BGA know this game, and so I can play with random people all the time and get an opportunity to explore this game and its strategies in a way that I otherwise wouldn't on the table. So I really love that about A Feast for Odin, and I think it's a really great game. It's got a lot going on, and there's a lot of choices you can make, and so I've been exploring a lot of different strategies. One of the members of our Discord, Harame, has been playing this game with me, and we've been playing it like nonstop essentially, and sometimes he wins, sometimes I win, and it's been really fun. And we both discuss what strategies we're taking and why we took that and how it worked for us, and it's been fun to see that, and I really like that about this game.
So going all the way back to episode 4, this was my number 4 Shelf of Shame game that I wanted to get played. And looking at everything else on this list, I haven't played any of them yet. But Feast for Odin was my number 4.
That brings up a question. If you play the digital version, does it get it off your Shelf of Shame?
Absolutely. If you understand the rules and you're not just clicking buttons.
Yeah, if you learn the game and now you can take it off of your actual shelf and play it, then I would think so.
But you aren't taking it off your actual shelf
I'm not
yet.
that invested in this. Well, yeah. I think it still counts. I'm not invested that much in it because my copy only cost me $30.
Gosh.
I will teach you this game.
I kind of wish I had a $30 copy.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody would have let me know that Miniature Market was having
I was
sale.
boarding a plane.
I don't have a copy of this game, and I'm the only one who's playing this game.
Right.
I like it.
Well, I need to play it. It's one that I wanted to play for a while now.
Yeah, I need to get it played too.
I should invest the time to learn.
Well, and that's the other thing about Feast for Odin. So I had only played once on the table, and then it had been a long time since I played it. So I thought, let me give a solo opportunity to try. And there's a solo mode on this, so I got to learn it through BGA or relearn it through BGA, which was really nice. And they have like tutorials on some of these as well, so you can walk through the tutorials. And I think that's one of the things I really like about BGA as well, is it helps me learn new games that I otherwise wouldn't get the chance to.
And I love, Tyler referenced this, when we play a game for the first time on the table and then it's on BGA, you immediately go play the game on BGA just to solidify those rules in your mind. And that's just awesome, right? I love that.
So that was my number 2, A Feast for Odin.
All right, so my number 2 is one of my favorite games, Teotihuacan. This game.
Are you sure you got that right?
Hint of doubt right there.
I'm still not sure if I'm gonna.
Teotihuacan?
Ask me again in a minute how to say it. So
you said it so confidently, though.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite games. City of Gods. I've got. Let's see how many plays. I've got 75 plays.
Whoa, I'm at 75 as well.
Oh, hey.
Whoa, crazy.
And I played a number, those are all on Board Game Arena.
No, never mind. I was looking at your number, not mine. Sorry. I'm going to look at my real number.
All right.
Continue.
Okay. So this is a rondel dice game. You're never actually rolling dice. You're moving them around, and as you do actions with them, there are 8 different locations that you can go to. You do different actions. You can worship. You can build the temple. You can go up on temple tracks. You are collecting resources, collecting Cacao.
It's
cacao. You're collecting cacao. You are upgrading your dice. They become more powerful and can do more things with them on certain locations on the board. This is absolutely one of my favorite games. I love it. It's a table hog. I've got a couple dozen plays on the table, but especially with like COVID, it was just awesome. And I think this is one of the early games that we started playing on Board Game Arena, and I've got 75 plays, so obviously those are not short games. It's a longer game, and I just absolutely love this one. I've talked about it before, and it's got staying power, and it will always be one of my favorite games.
Yeah, I have 83 games played.
Ooh, nice.
Of Teotihuacan.
I will say, if you're going to sign up for a Teotihuacan tournament,
yep,
that's a word.
You better be ready, because a lot of them are set up to kick off like 10 or 11 games all at once. And that is brutal.
It is terrible.
It is terrible. Yep. I would like to see some expansions on Board Game Arena. Hopefully that's coming down the pipeline at some point. If not, that's okay. I'll still keep playing this game because it is one of my favorites.
I completely agree with everything that you have said. Fantastic game. I love it.
No idea what you talked about, because I don't understand this game at all after 10 plays.
How many plays do you have? 10?
10 plays. We need to get it played on the table, and we've talked about this before. I think you would really enjoy it.
I think I would too. And even though I've played 10 games on the table, there are a lot of things about it that I think are very interesting and I like, but there's, for whatever reason, I just can't grasp it all on BGA without having played it on the table. Because one of my complaints about BGA is that when you get these large games on the table and you have that asynchronous play, if you're not playing your turns back to back, you're having to constantly refresh yourself on the rules. And if those turns are taking long to get back to you, it can be hard to fully understand what you're doing and the implications.
That is tough. And you're not able to ask questions at the table. And it's just
when we play some games, harder. I kind of take my time taking my turns, just like New Frontiers, 2-day turn limit. I'll wait like 46 hours.
What?
I know.
You're doing this on purpose?
No, look, I don't have time to think about my turn. on certain games. And if
Right,
it's
okay.
a game that I don't love as
Oh
much,
my gosh, you are not invited to the next New Frontiers game. I'm learning more as to why these games are taking so long.
Yeah, and yet we have like 800 turns go by of Space Base going through.
yeah.
Because he loves Space Base.
Full disclosure, I still don't quite know how that game works.
Really?
How many times have I
I
played
figured
that
it
one?
out, and I started winning games.
Awesome.
You did?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
did. Yeah, I saw that. You won one.
2. Well,
Two.
I didn't play with you. I've played a couple without you, and I've enjoyed it.
I've played it 4 times. I understand it. Whoa. Jeez.
Did you eat
Excuse
a frog
me.
earlier?
I think I just did. I understand it better than the first time, but I don't quite understand it fully.
Wait, what are we
Space
talking about?
base, space base.
So that's
Yeah.
one of the negatives of BGA in general is that if you don't learn it and you keep getting invited to games of it and you continue to not learn it, it can turn you off to some games.
I know, and I have trouble saying no to a game
Same.
that I get invited to.
I don't know if
I've done it before.
Yeah.
How long is our Great Western Trail?
It's done.
Is it done?
It was
canceled
waiting
out.
on Ben to cancel it.
And I think it was like 60 days or
Oh,
something.
I'm
like
so
that.
glad that that's out of my
Yes.
my
I
games.
did not love that implementation.
Well, I did not love that game.
I don't like that.
Oh yeah, I
game.
forgot
don't
you
like-
guys don't like
Yeah, I don't
Alexander
like,
Pfister.
well, I don't
No,
know if I
it's
don't
not.
like him, but that game just didn't really click.
He designed
with me.
Isle of Skye, which I love, but
Irish Carcassonne.
yeah,
Yeah, that
but
one.
it's a Scottish.
And Maracaibo.
Scottish.
You got you got Maracaibo.
Oh yeah, it's on my shelf of shame.
That'll probably never get played, right?
Yeah, if you guys don't like it.
I'd play anything.
I'd give it a try.
Okay, what were we talking about?
What were we talking about?
We were talking about a game.
Oh, Teotihuacan.
Teotihuacan.
Yeah, why don't you put a bow on that?
That was my number 2. The T game, City of Gods.
Very nice, very nice.
Teotihuacan? Teotihuacan?
We're never going to say it right.
I don't know.
I don't know. I just call it Teo. Just call it Teo.
Teo.
Everybody knows what you're talking about.
Everybody, yeah.
But some people call it Teo.
No, they don't.
No, that's
This has never happened.
But see, people say Teotihuacan.
I think any imaginal pronunciation has been
I'm
made.
gonna have to edit all of this out.
I know. Yeah, sorry. All right. My number 1 game.
Is this an alpha still?
No, this is in beta, I believe.
Okay.
I thought it came
There
out
are
beta.
there are portions of the game that are still in alpha.
Okay.
So this one is Memoir 44. I've talked about Memoir 44 a lot, so I won't explain a whole lot about how the game works. It is a World War II simulation. It's a 2-player game, can play up to 8. On BGA, I think it only supports 2 at this point. What I love about this game on BGA, I looked this up before we recorded. There are 40 official scenarios on BGA, which is awesome. That's
crazy.
That is crazy. There are 7 additional breakthrough scenarios. So if you don't know what breakthrough is a map that is double deep. So it's just a really long map. And I've played one of these. I've played breakthrough scenarios on the table. Why? Okay. Why are you crying, Tyler?
I don't know.
Okay.
Memoir 44 makes me happy.
Oh, okay. Memoir 44 makes Tyler happy. Okay. So, where was I? But I've played one breakthrough scenario with Mark online, and I've played the physical version of breakthrough scenarios, and they're just fantastic. There's a different deck that you use. It's a breakthrough deck. It just makes traveling along the big board a little bit easier. So there's 7 of those scenarios. My favorite way to play on BGA is you can just click random, and it will pick a random scenario.
Nice.
And you don't know what it's going to be until it pops up. I played the last one with Mark, and we had ski troops, and it was like, that's amazing. I knew they existed in the game. I don't know if I've ever played with them, but it was just fantastic playing that scenario. Another great thing, and this goes across most games on BGA, you can hover over something and it will just be a quick reminder of what that is. For Memoir 44, that's awesome because all the terrain has slightly different rules. All the troops that you play with have slightly different rules. So that quick little reminder makes it super easy to play and super easy to get to the table. As long as you know the base rules of Memoir 44, you can really get into any expansion that's on BGA very easily, which is just, it's awesome. And I love when you play back to back, right? Because a lot of them are, they're skewed towards one side more than the other, which is how it should be, right? So you play back to back, whoever has the most medals after those 2 games wins. I just think it's a great implementation.
You brought up something else that is something I love about BGA, and it's a great example through Memoir 44 is you have the opportunity to play that back to back on Memoir 44, right? Like where you can sit there and play it both sides, and everybody gets a fair shake at what that is, and you can do best 2 out of 3 with that, which is really great. On the table, that is not as easily achieved because you actually have to do the physical cleanup, the physical setup, like reset everything up and do stuff. And so it's not as something I'm as willing to do on the table because I don't want to, now we got to reset up the whole scenario, switch the side of the table, do that. So I love that the quick setup, the quick teardown of BGA makes you be able to jump in games and out of games real quick, and I love that.
Yeah, that's true. For Memoir, you're playing the same scenario twice, so you have to get all your dudes back on the map, which is a little bit of setup. Yeah.
It's not
but if you want to play a different scenario, because Mark was over at my house not too long ago, we played the physical version, and we played one scenario, both sides. And then I'm like, well, should we play another one? It's a lot of setup. And we ended up doing it. It wasn't that bad, but it does take a little bit, especially for that game, getting all the pieces out. But yeah, on BGA, I've been online, like when Mark and I have been online at the same time, and you can knock through a game super quick there.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which when you can time that, it was like a Saturday night or something. I don't remember the day, but we were both just on for whatever reason, and we played a few games, and it was fantastic,
That's exactly how I've played most of my Memoir 44 is that I get on at the same time as somebody else, as one of my buddies, Steve, and he and I will go through real fast, and that's fun.
I would love, and I don't know that this is going to happen, but if they added Operation Overlord, that would be awesome.
Holy crap. That would take it to the next level.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, because that's one of my favorite experiences with Memoir was getting everybody together and playing that Overlord scenario. And I'd be interested to see how it would translate into the digital, right?
But it would be fun to explore it.
I would love it for sure. Yeah. So that's my number one game that I think you should check out on BGA is Memoir 44.
So my number one game is a game I've played 49 times, and I know that there's some controversy on this game, but I'll explain why I like this game most on BGA. It's Tapestry, Stonemaier Games, designed by Jamie Stegmaier. This is a game with a lot going on, and one that I've played a number of times on the table, and I think it's beautiful, has great table presence. I've played a lot of the, I've played a little bit rather of the expansion on the table for the arts and architecture, which I think brings it to the next level. And if that were on BGA, like I'd play this all the time, or even more than I already do. Right now, I've got like 5 games of Tapestry going, and what I really like about Tapestry on BGA is that. So I guess backstory a little bit is. Tapestry has the civilization adjustments, right? There's been a lot of concern about Tapestry and the balance issues of the game, which I think has the tendency to take away from the game. But the more I've played Tapestry, the more I realize I don't care about the balance issues. I have discovered through BGA that they are very prevalent, and getting a consistent score from one game to the next is not easy. Now, I've gotten to the point where I can consistently score over 200 in pretty much every game, but it's taken a while to get there. So there is definitely skill in it, but I do think that there's a lot of potential for randomness in the game. But that's not what I love about it. I love in Tapestry is that this is a simple game for the most part that I can actually have a lot of games going on of this and still understand what I'm doing. I've developed a kind of a method by which to track what my strategies are, and that's using the resources as showing me what my next move is in a game. And what I mean by that is in Tapestry, you have the 4 resources, and I don't even know what they're called. You got Baymax, you've got mushrooms.
Fat guy, mushroom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
You got a bunch of different random resources that correspond to something thematically that I don't get, but they all have a different shape and color. And I can use that to determine where I'm going and what my strategies are, because every track corresponds with one of those resources. So say I want to go up on the military track, and I will make sure that I have a star icon left over so that I can see what I'm going to do on my next turn. And if that's the thing I have the most of, that means that's what I'm probably going towards. So I've developed these different strategies that I didn't realize existed and have helped me to organize and understand the game better. And that's why I think it's my favorite game on BGA. It's Tapestry, because I've been able to explore a lot and understand a lot about this game. And it's become less about beating my opponents and more about how high of a score can I get. And I like to see how that happens. And I enjoy it.
Yeah. So I think it's a great implementation. And every time I play, I have a good time playing Tapestry. What kind of drives me crazy is there's very few games that are close games in Tapestry. I mean, more often than not, somebody's going to run away with it. We had a close game
on the
Tyson on the table that was super exciting, where you came back from 100 points and we ended up tying, and I think I won on a tiebreaker. That is the exception in my experience. Usually somebody really gets it going and scores close to 300 points, and then everybody else is maybe, 50 to 100 points behind. And it's a lot of it's based on luck of the draw in my experience. Do you get Tapestry cards that really mesh with your strategy? Or do you get one of the crazy overpowered Tapestry cards? Or do you get, 5 trap cards that will maybe be beneficial? Or
do you get no trap cards?
Or do you get no?
Is your every site that you've expanded to?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's a little frustrating to me. The more I play the game, unfortunately, the more I think I don't like it as much as I did initially.
That's kind of how I feel. And I love the expansions. When we play this on table, I always want to play with the expansions. I wish they were on Board Game Arena.
Same.
It's a little frustrating to play a game and you feel like you're having an awesome game and only score 170 points, even though you created some synergistic turns and actions that felt awesome, and then your score's 170, and it's like, what just happened? Oh, it's because I have a terrible faction. And I've had games where I score 290 and the next time around I'll score 180, and it's like I'm not doing anything that differently. It's all based on what cards I draw randomly and what little exploration tokens I get. And I don't know. I don't feel
what technologies may be available at the time.
There is a lot of randomness in the game, but I've come to realize that for me, I most like randomness when it's on BGA. I don't like it on the table. Kevin, you mentioned this a little bit earlier, is that when you're putting something on the table, there's potential more invested in what you're doing because of the amount of time that's spent doing that, as opposed to when you're playing a game on BGA, you have what's there to lose, right? Like, I mean, there's nothing to lose either way, but like you have less time. So I love exploring it, and I think it's really fun. I love about it that I can just I have had those games, Tyler, where I've scored 93. I think that's the lowest score I've ever scored, and I was like, wow, that was a terrible play.
That could be me this game we're currently in. We'll see how it shakes out.
But I'm like, but I don't care. That I'll just play a different game or another game of it. That's fine, and that's fun. I really, really do wish we had the expansions though on there, because that would really improve it.
I do love that we get to explore it on Board Game Arena.
I have criticisms of the game, but I still enjoy playing it. And
yes,
I mentioned that to start off. It's like I like playing the game, and it's exciting to the things that you can do, and you get a resource here that lets you do this, that lets you do this, and that's cool and it feels good.
Yeah.
But a lot of times the end result of the game isn't satisfying.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
And at the very least, I wish they would add the city mats from the arts and architecture expansion, because those are awesome.
They're fantastic. But yeah, that's my number one, Tapestry.
My number one, we talked about at length in a feature review back in episode 13. It is Carnegie or Carnegie. I think that's actually.
I think it's probably the actual way to say it.
I think it is.
Yeah.
But this game, Kevin and I both backed this on Kickstarter, and this game was on Board Game Arena about from that time. And so we played this game 10 or 11 times on BGA before we even got it in the mail. And Kevin probably got his copy a few weeks before me.
Weeks or months. I don't remember.
It's always the case.
Right.
So anyway, Carnegie, you know what? Go listen to our episode 13. It's an awesome episode. We go into depth about how good of a game this is. I love playing it, especially the last few weeks. We've had some great games where the score has started going up and up and up, and it's been fun. And I love this one. So
yeah, it's funny. We were debating on who was going to keep their copy of Carnegie when it came, right? Because it's weird. The evolution of this game is weird for me, because we played about 10 games before we got our Kickstarter versions, and I was still like kind of lukewarm on the game. I didn't know if I liked it, right? But then we got the physical version and played it, and I'm like, and it was the table presence of that was just amazing. It was great. It got me excited about the game again. I started playing on BGA, and I started seeing more of the nuances of the game and how it worked. And this game is rising in the ranks for me quickly. It's just an awesome game, and it's an awesome experience, and it's really fun to play on BGA and explore those strategies. So I love it.
It's interesting that you mentioned that evolution, right? Because you guys were playing this on BGA without me for a long time, and the first time I actually played it was on the table when you got your copy, Kevin, and I played that, and then I started playing on BGA, and I've played 13 games on BGA since that time, and I've started to feel like I'm cooling on it a little bit, actually, over time with it. I feel like I'm seeing that there's a predominant strategy, and every time I see it happen, like, it's the only way people seem to win. Like,
what's the strategy?
Transportation tracks, right?
Transportation tracks and making sure that you're constructing, right? Doing the expanding your network on the main board, right? You have to do that.
Your upgrades.
But you can't go a different way, because I've tried to not do some of that stuff, and you can't win without that. And in fact, it significantly impacts your score if you don't do that. So I've been finding that it's less versatile than I had thought, which is not a bad thing. I still really enjoy the game and enjoy playing it all the time, but I can't say, for example, I tried building new departments as my main strategy. Like, let's focus on building departments as the main way to go. That didn't work out for me.
What departments are you building? Are you building departments that get you victory points throughout the game? I think there's decisions there, and I think that can be a viable strategy, right? And if you fill up that board, that's going to get you victory points. Plus, if you get departments that give you victory points, that could be something.
That was exactly
something
the strategy
to explore,
I was
right?
trying to go, and it tanked me because I couldn't get the income by going and focusing on that. And that's the problem.
That balance is hard. It is hard to get that balance.
I've never once connected to, is it San Francisco?
Oh, I've always connected.
I've never connected to San Francisco, and I've won this game a bunch of times. Like, I still feel like there's a good mix of upgrading, getting up on the train tracks, putting out constructions, but it's how you go about doing that. I mean, there's so many different ways to get to that point, I think. I don't know.
I'm just happy I blocked you out of the South in our current game.
Yeah, I saw that.
I do like that. I'm seeing more and more of those options to block people out and do stuff like that.
I had 2 games going, and I got them confused, and I thought I had already expanded to the New Orleans, and
Yeah.
I hadn't. And then I saw it too late, and I was like, oh, dang it. Well, there's a good chance I'm not winning this game. But I'm okay with that.
I'm hoping
because-
you don't. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I like the game. I just thought I think I put it at a 4. I
think
can't
I gave it a
remember.
4
I
as
gave it
well.
a 4. I think it was 4.
I was thinking, this could definitely come to a 5. I'm thinking it's probably going to stay at a 4 for me, but I really like it, and like I would play it anytime. It's especially on the table. Like I love that we can play it on BGA, but the production in this one and like the experience
production
of what you're doing, that action selection board on the table, I think is even better. And I love what this game offers.
Well, and
that gear and the girth that it has.
Exactly.
The implementation is awesome. So I love this game. It's my number 1 on Board Game Arena right now. So that's my favorite one. I actually left a game off of this list. I wondered if anybody was surprised by that. Clans of Caledonia.
Yep. And I'm pretty sure I know why you left it off.
Why is that?
So I thought about putting it on my list, but the fact that it tells you where you can go takes out a key strategic element of the game.
Yep, I agree.
Because that's part of playing the game well, right? Is knowing exactly where you can go. And maybe somebody's going to miss that, and maybe you're going to exploit that as an opponent.
Yeah,
So,
but being able to see those when someone else misses them is part of the game, and that the Board Game Arena tells you exactly where you can go. And that shows up in some of the other games.
Right.
But I think it bugs me the most in Clans of Caledonia.
Yeah.
Are there any games that you guys left off your list that were close? I know like Gaia Project was up there for me.
Blood Rage was up there for me, but there's distinct reasons for Blood Rage not to. Like I think Blood Rage, anything that has drafting in it, like
Res Arcana is awesome and has drafting.
Res Arcana, but its drafting is 8 cards and it's quick. It's not drafting every round. Like for example, I've been playing It's a Wonderful World, and I love that game, and I'm glad I've been playing it, but the time between drafting makes that so long. So like a drafting game on BGA is not my favorite, even though some of those games are my favorite games.
Yeah.
So I left off those types of games.
Yeah, on my list, the majority of the games on your guys' list, I could have probably swapped out for games on my top 5.
Yeah, I think Feast for Odin's the only one I really haven't. Well, and Barrage.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 I haven't really played, and I love all the other ones.
Yeah,
on the list.
I've been enjoying Beyond the Sun on BGA. I think that one's a lot of fun.
Now, I think the other question to ask is there a game that you really wish were on BGA that is not currently on BGA?
So Tyler asked this question earlier, and the first game that came to mind, and a game that I just can't get out of my head, is Anachrony.
That was one of mine.
That would be awesome.
And it's a meaty game, and there's so much to explore in that game.
Especially with all the expansions.
All the expansions. Yep. If I had my wish, all the expansions would be on there, and I could just explore the heck out of it. You know, whatever modules I want to put in there, and just play it.
I was going to say Anachrony, but I figured you would say it. And so I was thinking, what other game is it that I love that I would like to explore more? And I think for me it would be, well, any Vladimir Suhi game, but specifically Pulsar. I would love to have Pulsar
awesome.
on BGA.
Oh my gosh, Pulsar top 5 game for me.
I thought you were going to say Through the Ages, and I was like, nope,
that is on BGA.
That is on, yeah.
Oh, it is.
And the app is way better than the...
Yeah, but even when we tried playing in the app,
that was so hard. Yeah.
So I was, the one that came to my mind was Imperial Steam, because I loved that game so much. It's meaty. There's a lot to explore. I don't feel like it's going to get to the table much in this group. So I wish that was on there.
And I would give it another shot for sure, especially on BGA.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Another question. What games should maybe be avoided on BGA? Have you guys thought of that?
So that's why I said drafting games, like drafting
I don't know
games.
that I
But I don't know
with
about
that.
drafting games.
I would say anything that has negotiating in it.
Yep. So like Bonanza we played. Right?
Yeah, Catan.
Some of them,
whatever.
Catan.
Skull.
Skull is the one that I had top of my list. Anything that
I play that one blind anyways.
Oh my gosh.
House rules.
Any game that requires you to read your opponent, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Or
obviously that's not going to translate into the digital realm at all.
Yeah. Anything like that also really needs real-time play as well. And
Yeah.
Well, even if you're playing some of those real time, I don't really want to play some of those.
Social
on BGA.
Blood on the Clocktower, BGA version.
No, thank
It's
you.
like, oh my
you know what
gosh.
would be awesome? TI4. That would be awesome.
Okay.
Because that game
Yeah.
takes, 5 to 12 hours to play.
Oh, you'd be playing that for months.
You
like
would.
turn based.
It would, but you don't have to block off a whole calendar day to go play it.
Yeah. That wouldn't
Yeah,
be bad.
anything like that I would like as well. Yeah, anything large scale like that. That's exactly why I thought, Feast for Odin, because it's a longer game, it's harder to get to the table. Stuff like that I really like to see.
Nemesis. I love that game. There's lots of rules that it would be nice for BGA to handle for you.
I don't know about Nemesis. Nemesis is a game that tells a story.
That's true.
And being there in a group, like experiencing that story together is what makes that game fun.
I would
fun
agree.
for me. Molotov cocktail,
But that
killing Tyler. What? Why did you do like that? Came out of the blue, right? You had no clue.
Yeah.
that
was
brings
awesome.
up an
I was
interesting
trusting my companions who I thought we were on the same team.
Yeah, and I stabbed you in the back, or I, burned you in the back.
But it brings
with
up
the
an
Molotov
interesting
cocktail.
point, because that was one of the things I considered. I was like, would it be interesting to see like a Gloomhaven on there, or like a campaign style game that otherwise I wouldn't be able to play? But I worry. I want somebody to put that on there so I can try it. But I also worry that like having a vast narrative, story driven style game might not have
There's
the
a
same.
digital version of Gloomhaven.
Yeah. on
Oh, I
Steam.
know, but not on BGA. I'm saying,
Yeah.
Okay.
like, and the digital Gloomhaven is more video game than board game.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Interesting.
but so I think that is a good little sampling of a lot of games on BGA that we really enjoy. But I also think it highlights some of the great things about playing digital implementations of board games when you can't otherwise play them.
And there's other platforms to play on. Obviously, BGA is not the only one. I think any place you can play a digital version of a game, it's a good thing to do.
And hopefully your credit card hasn't expired the next time it's time for you to renew on Board Game Arena.
That
Because they
happened
will.
to you?
It did, and I got locked out of the grandfathered
discount that you
in
had,
price. Yeah. So
Oh.
it's still well worth
It's
it. Still
way
very
affordable.
affordable.
Right.
It was just like, seriously. So that's how we're migrating people to the new
Well,
billing level.
At some point, everybody's will
Right.
expire. But yeah, no, I think that if you can't get games played, we've talked about Harame a couple of times already. He's one that we play with who can't play games on the table very much. I think this is a great way to get that experience and play with people. If you don't have a game group, or your game group like ours this last month has been unable to meet up as much, this gets my fix every time.
Agreed. Yep.
Nova Luna is awesome too. It's an alpha.
That game, the more I play, the more I like it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I almost put that on my list.
I am terrible at it, but I enjoy playing.
I still haven't
love it.
read the rules, and I'm not entirely certain
There-
why I get
You're
certain
doing
things.
pretty good.
There's
I
not a lot of
figured out
rules there, and there's not a lot of theme there. It's
No,
very
but-
abstract.
But there is a lot to think about, and the more you play, the more you see,
Yes.
what you need to focus on,
Every time we play it, I think of Tobin.
Tobin.
At
Did
Origins.
we talked about
We
Tobin.
we talked about Tobin. He invited us to the game that first day at Origins.
That was our
and-
first game played of the con, actually at the con.
Yeah, and it's been an awesome game. I'm going to buy that one for sure. You have it, right?
I do have it. Yeah, we didn't get out to play the physical version before Origins, but it is definitely worth having on the shelf.
Yeah, that almost made my list. All right, I'll be quiet. That's our top 5 BGA.
It's a good honorable mention.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've tried to wrap it 3 times, but
Well, What are you guys excited about?
This time, Tyler happened to mention that there was a miniature market sale. And
oh my gosh, I messaged you that night. I was getting on a plane. I had to check out while finding a seat on Southwest.
No, I'm just giving you crap. It's fine. I'll get over the Feast for Odin thing eventually. It's fine. It's fine. No, but there's a miniature market sale recently. I jumped on to see what they had, and they actually had some really good stuff this time. I picked up Messina. I'm going to get the number wrong, 1347, I think, which is my second game about the Black Plague, which I've mentioned before. The first one is Radis, which I want to get that one played again. I think that just had a reprint, actually, or a big box version that came out. But I'm excited to play Messina, and I'm also I picked up Aeon's End Legacy of Gravehold, which I'm super excited to dig into that one and play. We had an episode about Aeon's End. I rated it a 5. It's a fantastic game, and I think a legacy version I'm ready to jump into. I also recently did my pledge manager for the Aeon's End Kickstarter, and I'm getting the other legacy version. I don't know when that'll be fulfilled. I'll get this one first, Legacy of Gravehold, and hopefully dig in and start playing that. So I'm excited for both of those games.
Nice.
To show up.
This is a bandwagon that I've jumped on that I know Tyler's excited about. I don't know if this is what he was going to mention, but one of the things that I'm excited about is the Dead Reckoning Kickstarter.
Oh, yeah.
Which is going on right now.
Yeah, it's probably going to be gone by the time this airs.
Right. So, but Dead Reckoning, we've talked about this game already, obviously, but it's one that I decided to go in and back because I had such a good experience with it and want to get my own copy, even though Tyler has a copy of it.
It surprises me that you're getting it. We have a copy in the group, and you usually don't get.
I usually don't,
games.
But it's like I mentioned in our
He's
review.
going to test the secondary market when he gets his copy to see if it's as hot as it was after the first Kickstarter.
No, like I mentioned in our review of it is I've always enjoyed the pirate theme, and I've been on the lookout for a pirate board game that satisfies the things I want out of a pirate game. And this is the closest that any board game has ever come for me on a pirate theme to give me that. And I figured I'd be upset down the line if I can't get a hold of this at some point and play it with my kids or, have it for myself. So I didn't go all in because it's really pricey to be able to get everything. And Tyler's got everything or will have everything here shortly. So I figured I'll just go base game and go on that. So I'm excited about that. And then the other thing that I was excited about was that I also just backed another Kickstarter from Button Shy Games. I mentioned Button Shy Games here a little bit ago and did Scott Alm's Simply Solo series. And I should be getting some of those wallet games for Gone Fishing and Unsurmountable.
I backed Dice Throne Krampus because Krampus is one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time.
How we were going to survive Christmas with 12 people stuck in a house with no heat and no electricity.
Or food.
There's plenty of leftovers, Howard.
Beer it is.
You say this with a Krampus blanket hanging up behind you.
I do, and we have lots of other Krampus.
You gave us a Krampus bell.
I did.
Yeah,
ornament. Yeah,
we hang it on our tree every year.
Yep. So I'm excited about that. I've never played Dice Throne. Seems like a fun game. I don't care because it's got Krampus, so I'm going to play that. I'm excited about that. Dead Reckoning, obviously, finally seeing what the second Kickstarters had entail. Excited about that. Septima, got a free copy of that. I volunteered at Origins in the booth for 4 hours, a couple 2-hour sessions, and Mind Clash was nice enough to pay for my game. So I'm excited about that.
Do you get that when everybody else does? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they just put in credit into my account, which was awesome.
I'm also getting Septima, but I'm paying
so
for it like a chump.
Yeah.
You went to Origins, right?
I did go to Origins.
It didn't work as well as I thought I was going to. I recently received Thunderstone Quest. Excited to get that to the table. I backed a Kickstarter for a couple of the expansions, but I got the base game, decided I didn't want to wait a year to play that. So
you're just excited to see all this new stuff that you've got.
Yeah, and then they're going to get added to my shelves and
not played, and then get on the Shelf of Shame episode next year.
So it's been a rough month or so of not playing a lot of games. I mean, I've played a bunch of Unmatched, but I'm excited to start getting some games to the table. So that's what I'm excited about. And Christmas music's only a couple months around the corner.
It's August.
Yeah.
It's the middle of summer.
Eighth month of the year.
I do not want fall and winter to come. So let's just keep summer for a while.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
Yeah.
Fall's the best.
Well, I mean, if it could stay fall and not turn into winter, I'd be okay with that. You know?
We've had some pretty weak winters lately, though. So
yeah, last winter it didn't snow until like January.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anyway, so I think that wraps up what we're excited about. We appreciate you listening to this episode. You're going to hear shortly from Tyson's blurb how much we appreciate you and all the different ways that you can connect with us. One more thing I'm excited about. We're going to be playing lots of Lord of the Rings games because our next episode is going to be Lord of the Rings.
Journeys in Middle-earth, but that's the feature review, but we're going to talk a lot about other Lord of the Rings games.
Yep.
Right?
Our Lord of the Rings channel on Discord has turned into Lord of the Rings memes. Did you guys see the Gandalf one?
I did.
That was awesome.
I'm a little scarred from that one.
I don't want to go back on the channel now.
Oh, come on. It wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't that bad.
It was hilarious. Though.
I don't know.
I've seen that one before.
That was the first time I'd seen that one. Yeah, and now I can never unsee it.
I'm going to be watching the movies. I'm listening to the Silmarillion right now. We're going to be playing some Lord of the Rings games. I'm excited.
So Thursday, most of us will play Journeys in Middle-earth.
Yeah, Tyson's
going on a work trip. He won't be able to play. But I'm excited to get that one played again.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm sad because that's one I've really wanted to play.
So I'm excited about that. Lord of the Rings. You had an idea?
You pointed?
I was going to suggest that since we've talked a lot about BGA on this episode, we have a board game arena group that you can join. If you're not already part of our board game arena group, come join the group. Invite us to a game or two, and we'd be super happy to play with you.
Plus, I can give you access to any alpha game that you want.
Come join our board game arena group and play some BGA with us. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Longest Turn Board Gaming Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you want more Longest Turn in your life, please check us out on Instagram. Also, be sure to check us out on Board Game Geek, where you can join our guild, Guild 3947, and check out our blog, where we post all our show notes and occasionally post more detailed reviews. If that's not enough for you, we have a Discord server. If you want to play a game with us on Board Game Arena, join our Board Game Arena group, The Longest Turn. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Toad scenes. Later.
Bye.
Whose turn is it?
Where are we? What are we doing?
We started talking about that
Arnak.
trash.
So you just
The trash. Oh my gosh. We Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Teotihuacan.
Are we recording?
We are live.
Good, because I was squeaking the whole time.
Get your squeaks out.
So we've been, do you want to do the transition, Tyson? Or that about wraps up what we've been playing lately. We're going to talk about our top 5 board game arena games played.
Why don't you take a look?
Say almost exactly that. Why don't we just use that?
Regicide, and it is a
Yeah, it's it's pretty amazing.
And do you only press play when it's your turn on BGA? So it's interrupted every time.
Yeah.
Does it make you feel like you need to get up and go to the bathroom?
I pee at least 5 times playing the game.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks Tyler for bringing that up. I get it. It's a different theme, but it's not a space or fantasy.
So since we've talked a lot about BGA this game. Since we've talked
if we didn't BS for half an hour, we could be playing a game right now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's not my fault. Don't look at me
I have to edit the crap out of this.
and my axe.
You skipped
My banana.
My banana. Yeah, that was funny. That was Dan, I think, that posted in our Discord. I think he's actually down in the Springs. We need to get him to a game.
Yeah, right.
But that was hilarious. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Of anybody in this group, I'm the one that messages out the most about deals or Kickstarters or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I think there's a
Monster
lot.
Crunch. That
Any ladders
You know
on
what I
there.
was thinking?
Then I could really explore the true
No.
depth of that game.
A legacy version of Monster Crunch.
Oh yeah.
These are ideas. What? This is just
Let the
amazing.
milk get sour?
Well,
No, it's a series of breakfasts, and you have to go across the country and try different cereals.
Go pitch that.
somehow
at,
Lucky Charms comes in there.
Go pitch
Fruity
that at Gen
Pebbles.
Con and see how it goes.
Legacy Monster
Sold
Crunch.
out.
The best idea I've had all day.
Hit game of the con.
There's like a lot of.
Yeah, this end is going to be a nightmare.
I'm just going to end
I don't
it.
know
It's
if
going to
there's
be a
anything
hard
usable.
stop.